I just sent a text message with this cell phone 65 miles and I got a return text back with the cell phone. Now that might not be very impressive, but there is no commercial infrastructure, no cell phone towers, no cell service. This is one of those de-googled $30 Walmart phones with a free app on it. No Wi-Fi, no phone service, text messaging, 60 miles and more. How do you do that? Well, with MESHCORE. This has been on my radar for a long time actually. I've been looking at Meshtastic, MESHCORE, and it was time for me to break it out. So I put everything together last week, took it with me on Memorial Day, and did some war driving around testing what this thing can do. This little lower band 900 megahertz system that is secure, it is anonymous, it is encrypted, and it requires no license. This is not ham radio. Remember when I talked about the concentric circles of communications, and the first priority is your local comms and your area comms within your community and around your community? This is what does it. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The first in a series of video, a series within a series, for the Prepper Comms series covering MESHCORE. If you find this content helpful, then give me a thumbs up, a like, and a share, and subscribe. And if you feel like it, buy me a cup of coffee. It helps support the channel. Much appreciated. So, what is MESHCORE? Well, it uses a free app. It connects to a 900 megahertz small radio by Bluetooth. And then this is what does the heavy lifting, the communicating. Super efficient, long-range radio. This is called LoRa, or long-range, L-O-R-A, radio. You get two of these and you can send messages back and forth direct. Now the predecessor to MESHCORE was Meshtastic, and everyone who had one of these with the Meshtastic firmware burned onto it, downloaded onto it, could talk to each other directly, or they could hop and skip across all of the other nodes in the area, creating a mesh. So MESHCORE came along, and although you can still send a direct message if you're within range, anywhere from 1 to even 15 miles with a good line of sight, encrypted and privately if you wish. So I was a little skeptical about MESHCORE because it doesn't use individual units as part of the mesh. It uses exclusively repeaters. So I'm wondering, well, you know, it's so new, there's not that much infrastructure in place yet supporting it. So I kind of dragged my feet getting MESHCORE up and running and getting this little guy put together in a kit. These are about $40 to $45 a piece. I bought two of them for 92 bucks, so $45 a piece. So I'd have two. So as it turns out, once I got this paired up and connected, which I'm going to cover in future videos, how you can get secure communications without a license and cover your entire area depending on the amount of infrastructure that's been put in place in your area. And it varies. There are big gaps, but those gaps are being filled quickly by other citizens in the community that are adding mesh nodes. And with MESHCORE, it depends heavily on repeaters, like this one. This is a repeater that was built to put on some people's property that I know. Matter of fact, this is my repeater. I built this. But there are tons of repeaters just like this. And think of this as like a little miniature cell phone tower that is owned by the citizens. It is set up by people in the community who are just into emergency radio communications, preparedness, tech type people, tinkerers, ham radio operators. It's just the whole community of people that find value in this, and now it's really taken off. So I was wondering, well, you know, should I really dive into it at this point? because it's still so new, how much infrastructure is there. So when I got connected to my mesh node and I started monitoring the traffic that's out there, I started seeing all of these, what they're called contacts. Even though they're not personal contacts, these are repeater nodes, and now I have over 253 of them that started showing up. Now, not all of them are direct. Some of them I'm hearing because of the mesh system. Let's take a look at the map. This is what was really a stunner for me. So here's in the Pacific Northwest. This is not internet based. None of this is coming over the internet. This is what this little mesh node connected by Bluetooth to this cell phone have received, because some of these stations that are far away are being relayed or repeated across this entire region. So there's Washington State, North Idaho, and even a little bit of Oregon. And these little bubbles, as you zoom in, they expand and show how many nodes are in this area. They're all over the place. So in the Spokane, Coeur d'Alene area, North Idaho, Eastern Washington, there was a ton of coverage. I was sending messages from up by Colville, Washington, over to Hayden, Idaho, and back. So I took a little road trip. I'm going to share my findings with you, but we're going to talk about how to set this up, how you can get this set up in your own communities. We're not going to focus on the repeater portion right now. We're just going to focus on getting a mesh device in the next video so that you can talk to your teammates, and then also make use of the local net, the mesh that's been put in place in your community. If there isn't one, it's coming. This is growing very fast. And even if you don't, or until then, you at least have secure two-way communications between you and your teammates that don't require a license.
Okay, so the map on my phone of the Pacific Northwest reflects all of the stations, individual users, and repeaters that I was able to copy over radio. No internet involved. And that reflects individuals who sent out a beacon announcing their presence, or repeaters announcing their presence. And that is a reflection of both direct contacts, people who I heard their signal directly, and also those who I heard through repeaters. And it will show you how many hops it took for that beacon or their message to get to you. Because, and I'll cover this in upcoming videos, there are different channels and rooms that you can add and different features. So you do not have to participate in the public group. You and your buddy can send a message to each other 60 miles away, and it will use the mesh system that is in place. It will use the infrastructure, but you can do that anonymously, privately, securely, and encrypted between the two of you. It just rides across the top of the infrastructure. You're not interacting or participating with other individuals. Okay, so this is the MESHCORE.io map, and these locations, or these stations that you see here, the bubbles, as you zoom in, they expand. And these repeater owners or individuals have placed themselves on, they've added themselves to this map. So what's actually on the ground and active and operational is not reflected here, but this does give you a really good insight into just how fast MESHCORE is growing. These are the people who said, yes, add me to the map. I want to be on there, so I'm somebody. And as you zoom in, you see more and more of these appearing. So this is how much coverage there is there between individual users and repeaters, and this is how traffic gets passed. So there are some live maps. I don't know how they're doing this. Somebody who, it must be just a series of volunteers, and there are several of them around, and you can find a local Discord group in your area, and find a mesh, do a search for, say, Mesh Colorado. They have a live map where the volunteers who have internet access are reporting packets that they're receiving and sending. And so that's reflected on a live map, as you just saw. This is what MESHCORE looks like if you could visualize it on a map when someone sends a beacon or a message to the group. And there's two different ways that messages can be sent. They can be sent directly from person to person, or in what is called a flood. So when I sent that message, it sends out a flood to my buddy. And after it identifies the path that it took, it will remember that path until one of us changes locations and we hit a different repeater. Then for the sake of efficiency, it will follow the same path between you two, following the same repeater or series of repeaters to get your messages back and forth, instead of sending it out as a flood to every node that's out there. It's pretty ingenious. Another concern somebody brought up is that it pings your location. Well, there is a feature where you can transmit your precise location. That would be good during search and rescue operations or real-world emergencies, but you can also turn that off. And additionally, you can manually place your location on a map where you want people to believe that you are. And they do this for security reasons. So somebody puts up a repeater, you can manually place your repeater on the map, say a half a mile away, so somebody can't just walk right up to your door and steal your repeater off the pole. Here are the two MESHCORE nodes that I built last week. I'm going to reassemble one of those and then reassemble it and make a video on how to put these together. Remarkably easy. After you get the first one built, you can build the next one in a fraction of the time. So I'm going to share some of my experiences with you as I was putting this together. But each of these nodes is paired by Bluetooth to one of these de-Googled smartphones that have no data, no service. I'm not connected to Wi-Fi. So it is these units here that's transporting your text messages. Now this is limited only to text. You can't send images or anything like that. But what a powerful tool to stay connected when the grid's down. This is community driven by tech hobbyists and ham operators and just citizens that are investing in this infrastructure. So if I want to send a message from my Mesh A device to my buddy, Mesh B, which is this device right here, then I simply tap on that one and I type test and hit send. And you can see there, I have a message that just came in. I tap on that and there's my test. So I'm going to share with you my findings from the coverage on my war driving exercise over Memorial Day weekend. It was very revealing. So I left this unit over in Washington, made a little trip to Idaho and took this with me. And I sent test messages to myself or to the other unit. And when I got back, some of these messages that say failed actually made it through. And it also revealed kind of a black hole in some of the coverage that the repeater that I built last week and employed on a friendly's property, who said, heck yeah, you could put that repeater there, help provide more coverage, provide another link to different parts of the county, and it was successful. I'll share that with you as well. All right, so hopefully you appreciate that introduction to MESHCORE, and you subscribe and hit the bell icon because more on this topic is going to be forthcoming. This does have its limitations. However, when you look at how it's performing, even though it's text only, that is a lot of coverage that you can keep in touch with loved ones. And last night when storm systems came through, the public channel was alive with updates on power outages, and this is all self-reliant. The power goes out, cell phones go out, internet goes out. These things continue because they're all standalone, self-reliant, mesh resilient system, very resilient system for emergencies. More to follow. Thank you to Works Holsters, located in North Idaho, for your continued support of the RFR podcast and for being out there. Support a Patriot-owned business, Works Holsters. They've just been awesome. So with that, you guys be safe out there. Start doing a little bit of exploring. Be tuning in. I'll be covering this. Get your comms up. This is John Jacob Schmidt, out.